Today on Next Generation Leaders, we'll talk to Chris McGoff. Chris is the CEO of The Clearing. Well, Chris, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So tell us a little bit about The Clearing and kind of what you guys do, how you got started in this. To me, it's a fascinating concept, just the term itself, the big problems you're trying to solve, the cool things you're trying to do, and then who do you do it for? How did this all come about?
Okay, so we're a professional services firm.
Okay.
Measurements are how many consultants, at what rate, at what utilization. We're straight up professional services.
Okay.
C Corp with an S election. I'm looking for 15% margins. So that's the physics of the business.
Yeah, gotcha.
The people that work there, we focus on complex problem solving and specifically causing the alignment among the key stakeholders that are doing whatever they're doing, whether it's an ERP or a CRM, trying to transform a system, downsize a budget, merge two systems together. Key people get fragmented. They start thinking different things, they learn different things at different paces, and that kind of mist in the leadership team causes a fog in the organization. It causes change fatigue. 86% of these efforts fail. There's a lot of carnage laying around.
Yeah.
And there's hundreds of thousands of books about leadership and things like that. So something was missing, and that's what we're pursuing, is what is causing an 86% failure rate in technically and socially complex problems when it has both attributes of technical complexity and social complexity at the same time, 86% failure rate. And most of the really cool problems and most of the things worth working on right now fit that category.
So is there one side of that graph that's the driver more than the other? Is it the social side, the technical side? And do you guys have like a process to sort of nail that, or a methodology?
That's a really good question. No, I think there's really good technical people in the world, and I think there's some really good people that work on the social complexity. A lot of granola, California, kumbaya stuff. But the trick is you have to be kind of strong in both of those things to help these people out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's not one or the other, and hybrid teams really don't work. So you kind of have to really embrace some level of ability to mix it up with the technical people, but really focus on the people side of the thing. And I got to tell you, Marty, the people side of the thing to me is the one that is least addressed in the large technical deployments, the big ERPs, the big CRMs. Any enterprise system at all is usually being driven by a technical company, and they have a little bit of change management or a little bit of OD, or they use all these words, Six Sigma, all this stuff. They put a little bit of that in there, and they get an 86% failure rate.
Yeah.
So the Clearing mission is, to allow people to thrive in these really, really risky environments, because it's where all the fun is right now.
So it's been a long road for you to think through this challenge. I mean, you had your own company. You were very successful doing that. You've written a book around the topic. Can you connect the first two dots to the third dot of The Clearing, and sort of how that all built in?
And it touches your leadership thing. When we were in IBM, we were trying to figure out technology to assist in group decision making. And so we got into this whole Lotus Notes thing, group decision support thing, collaborative meeting rooms, all kinds of computers in rooms. And I did that for a long time. Then I left there and moved into what I thought was necessary was collaboration, collaborative leadership and all that stuff. And we built Touchstone, got it up to 180 people and sold that thing to SRA, and it was a good company. But there was definitely something missing. When I went back and talked to the clients, these people that are out there in this quad 4 trying to make this thing work, I learned that collaboration is a necessary tool of leadership, but it is not the preferred one. If you can get away with a command and control type of leadership, where there's a lot of trust in the leader, something's running out, urgency that's a really good process. So Touchstone was really good at collaboration, but what the clients really needed was a full range of services. And so we're committed to figure that out at The Clearing, and we start with command and control. What can the fewest get done with the least in the shortest amount of time? That's the starting position. And then they say, well, we'd have to get Bill in here. Why? Why do we have to get, because once we bring Bill in, it's going to really stretch this thing out. So it's always like The Clearing is about the fewest with the least, in the shortest period of time, causing magic.
So that does tie in really well with sort of this question on leadership, because one of the things that seems to me you're challenged with is that you've got to get things done and you have no positional power. you might not even have that much
Yeah,
authority.
yeah, you're right
how do you lead without those two
No, you're
banners?
exactly right. You're exactly right. Some of the biggest things the executives in our marketplace are dealing with now, they do not have positional power over all the stakeholders necessary to get something done. Sounds like a lot of jargon, but like just even water rights. I mean, no one really has positional power over everybody else in the coolest problems going. The whole UN is built that way. The World Bank, Asian development, the U.S. federal government, the states.
Yeah.
Nobody really has positional power. So we've been looking at that really close. Remember, everything we say has been tested thousands of years ago. We won't say it if we can't find it in antiquity.
Okay.
We will not say it. And the lost word was enrollment. The ability to show up and occur to others in a way that caused them to be arrested and convicted to what you're up to.
Okay.
It's the enrollment process.
Yeah.
It's not inspire, it's not motivate, it is to enroll.
Okay.
We've been studying these enrolling personalities, why all of a sudden everybody wants to do the new thing, which is just an idea, and they're willing to let go of the old thing, which is something they understand.
Yeah.
How did that leader do that? What was that enrollment process? Maybe enrollment is like even before engagement. It's like all of a sudden people stop holding on to the as is and they start really wanting to be part of the to be. Not everybody. There's some people, the laggards, 13% of the system will never come. But the bulk of the people you need, all of a sudden are more committed to the new than what is in existence. We're calling that enrollment. And the three characteristics of the enrollment process is it definitely touches the person in a private way. In other words, they're not signing up really for the company. They're signing up because this new thing really touches them in some way personally. And they're moved by that. The second point is they're actually moved by that. They're at a point where they say, I can't not do this. Martin Luther said, he drew a line, he said, this is where I stand, I can stand nowhere else. And that's really what we're talking about when we talk about move. And then there is an aspirational or an inspirational part of it where they get really excited.
Yeah.
When these leaders pull this off, the people figure out all the details of how to do that.
Yeah. For this crowd, this leadership team that you have around, these younger people that you bring on, these sort of the people that are in the middle between what Harvard calls the barbell, how do you get them to continue to challenge you, challenge the process, make it better? You have some good ideas. Just knowing you, I know you think there's better ideas out there. How do you keep these guys engaged to make sure that they're challenging the process and making it better? I
think we're all hanging off each other's rope on the side of a cliff. We're saying that we're going to make a big difference in a very, very old problem, 86% failure rate. So it's like climbing, Everest, Everybody says, oh, let's make a good culture, let's make good leaders, let's make good team. We say, let's dare a noble and mighty thing and tease out everything that gets in the way of that. And when we get to the top, we'll have culture, team, morale, but we'll also we're at the top.
So you start with a noble intent of some sort.
A noble and mighty thing. And it doesn't have to be like change the world. I mean, there's noble and mighty things in the church up the street. There's noble and mighty things in the school.
Right.
Where our company is just 5 blocks away, there's a noble and mighty thing that's trying to go on right now. And change is change, big system, small system, it's just about all as risky.
Yeah.
A couple of people can take the whole thing down, So I really think that one of the things that keeps all of us excited at the clearing right now is it's a becoming. It's not a thing, it's a becoming. And there's a big piece of Swiss cheese there. It's delicious in what we know, and it's got some gaping holes in it. Yeah. And we're just telling everybody, let's get these holes filled. So it's really it's a competition of ideas. Like really, it's a relentless pursuit of a better way to help our clients. And I think everybody can feel that.
Yeah.
Everybody can feel that.
So the last sort of big question, we've kind of hit culture and innovation and, how you think about leadership. What role do these sort of next generation leaders, what role do these folks play in the growth of the organization? In other words, you have gravitas, you can go out there and speak and people will want to do work for you, with you. How do you sort of keep that going inside a company? This is not just Chris's art project, right? This is a company that needs to have its own legs, and you might need to take some days off here and there. How do you make it continue to survive on its own and grow and be prosperous?
Yeah, this is such a good question. Well, let me take you back to 1981 when I came out of my master's degree in engineering and started at IBM, and they made it really, really clear to us, and as an engineer at IBM, a young engineer, go do engineering. And the management team stood behind us, and they were good managers, but they stood behind us and we engineered. When we had gaps in what we had to do and knew how to do, we'd come and talk to them, they'd outfit us, and we'd go back out on the court. Yeah. Any mistake, they took credit for. Anything we did right, they let us take credit for it and tout it. IBM's management systems in the 1980s was really buckled down and good. And they could take young people in, and they put us in harm's way. They put us right out there in the front, but we had good backup. What I notice now in a lot of companies is the top people are in front doing the work and getting the credit and that kind of thing. And then they have these support systems behind them, these young people that are theoretically supposed to come up someday and be great.
Yeah.
At the clearing, when you're hired, and it's also a cash thing, but probably 48 hours later, you're in front of a client.
Working, yeah.
You're in front of a client. Like, you're out there. So I think that the big thing is we are growing, so we're making the great sucking sound, and you want the bottom to come up because that's cheaper than bringing in. It's less risk than bringing in from the sides, right? And it's not, growing at the speed I want it to yet, but it is growing. And so when you come in, you're on the front line, and you're not trained or equipped for that. And so you're coming back in as an adult saying, this is what I need to learn right now. And our company is saying, all right, let's get that to you. Because we don't offer proactive curriculum, and we don't offer much proactive management.
Yeah.
It's gap stuff from the front lines. And our highest utilization is in our youngest people. If you're coming into our company young, to make our margin, we have to get you out there at 86, 87, 91% utilization. We'll get you out there. You got to keep yourself out there.
Well, this has been fascinating. This was great. I mean, I love talking about the clearing. I love talking about your background, the primes, the things that, we didn't talk about my favorite Chris term, which is universe denters, but someday we'll get to that.
You are one.
So I appreciate your time. Appreciate you coming up and talking to us about how you think about leading, how you think about changing a marketplace, how you think about solving big world problems. It's innovative and fascinating to me. So thanks.
Hey, you call, I come.
Yeah, all right, thanks.
Plain and simple.
Chris McGoff and his team at The Clearing know how to make a real change, a real difference. They've studied the 14% of projects that are successful and found ways to create a methodology, a time-proven approach to making a real difference and making change stick. We hope you can take some of these concepts and make change stick in your organization.